Okay, I think I'll start off. Welcome, everyone, to the Sunday Dharma Talk. My name is Santosh Philip, and I am a meditation and Kumne instructor here. Also, many other studies, Dharma studies, and other things. Give me 1 second here. Okay, we still have people trickling in. And so let me, sometimes I have to read the talk description to make sure I'm giving the right talk. The title of the talk is Re-Engineering the System. And the write-up about it says, our ordinary state of being is often immersed in worry, fears, guilt, and anxiety. We often blame external events for this. But can we change our inner system so that we don't respond in quite the same way? So this talk will guide you through a way of seeing how the inner system operates and give you practices that help you to restructure that system, restructuring it so that it gives you more pleasure instead of pressure. Um, okay, I think I can talk on that. So there's actually a lot packed in that description. And what we'll do is I'll talk a little and I'll guide you through some not practices, ways of looking inward so that you can see what your mind is doing. And maybe about in the middle of the talk, I'll pause and just ask for questions if you have any questions, and then pick it up again. Because a lot of it is built on where your mind is at. And in a way, even to call this a Dharma talk means I'm talking a lot. I'll be talking not as much, uh, but uh, but through experience or guiding you through experiences. And so, which makes it very tricky to manage the time. We may overshoot or undershoot. We'll see. Okay, so it says here our ordinary state of being. In our ordinary state of being, we're often immersed in worry, fears, guilt, anxiety. It's basically saying that our normal state of being, we're not very happy. We're either looking at the past and uh, regretting things, guilty about things, or we're looking into the future, worrying about where that will take us. And there is a question, is that statement true or not? I Maybe some of you would say, no, I'm completely happy. I don't have all those problems. I just came to hear what you have to say. But um, anybody completely happy? No problems at all. Everybody's smiling. They must be all happy. No, even when we are happy, we're not, there is still a underlay of worry, underlay of anxiety always going on. And you could say that, that's justified. I have things that I need to worry about. That's right. No, you do have to worry about some things, otherwise they will run away and create problems. But you also know that when you're worried, when you're fearful, when you're angry, when you're stressed, life itself seems a little difficult. Problems seem harder to solve. In contrast, when you are happy, when you're not stressed, problems seem less difficult, things seem easeful. Or you could look at it in another way that when the same situation happens, two different people will see it differently. Even though it's the same situation, why is that so? Or you would see it differently on a different day, or if your state of mind is a little different. So it seems that even though we look outside and blame the external events for our misfortune or good fortune, it seems that our internal state of being has a greater say in how we take that in. Is it possible that our internal state has a much greater say? Or maybe your internal state is the one that really has the major say in what is going on. It's a possibility, and I'm going to propose that as a possibility. Now, ordinary mind will jump in and object and say, no, I got real problems. I don't want to bluff to myself. So when we look at the world that way, and that's how we do normally look at the world. So then we turn outwards to fix our problems outside so that our problems are less problematic, and then we can feel better and go on. I'm going to say that maybe if we fix what is blocked or broken inside, you may solve a lot of the external problems. So don't take my word for it. We'll try this out and see if this makes sense. It's a bit of a radical thing to say that blockages and difficulties within your embodiment may be what needs to be resolved so that your energy flows more smoothly. There are less tensions and tightnesses in your body and in your mind. And then your life and your world may actually open up very differently. I'm saying this and I don't quite believe it because I'm saying it in my ordinary state of mind. I'm saying, no, that's not true. So, in a way, I'm emphasizing that this take is a little radical. So we have to try it out and see what it is like. What is it about? But that also opens a question: why is this a possibility? Maybe we need to look a little closer at what is happening in the mind, what is happening in the body. When our daily life seems to be immersed in worry, fear, anxiety, guilt, why is our body and mind giving us this? Why is it not presenting something more pleasant? Does it have a choice? Can we turn to the mind and ask it to give us, as the quote says, ask it to give us more pleasure instead of pressure? Would it respond? But first, it may be worthwhile to look into a present state and see how it is operating, what is going on. Then, if I was sitting in your shoes, I would turn and say, I don't know how to do that. What am I supposed to do? Right? Because things are just happening. How do I understand what is happening, or how can I see what is happening and why it is happening? Well, first we have to look, is there anything happening? And then there are kind of interesting, let's call it tricks that help you to see better. One obvious one is that when you're tense and tight, it's very hard to see into your own mind. Because when you're tense and tight, there is a speed in which the mind operates, and it's almost, or your activities and actions are patterned and almost repeating, unstoppable. Is there a way we can see what is going on more clearly? One way to do that is to relax a bit and watch what is happening. And you may say, how do I relax? What do you mean? Okay, we don't know how to relax. So I have an easier suggestion. Do whatever you're doing right now. And everybody is doing something. The mind is doing something. It's saying, listen to this guy. He's maybe saying something interesting. Maybe not. Um, you can't control your mind. It does these things. So keep doing whatever you're doing. Change the speed of it. Do it a little slower. Do exactly what you're doing. Do it a little slower. What happens when you do that? Can you do it slower? You can. You just slow it. You can do this. Slow it down just a bit, just a beat slower. It's kind of spooky to try to slow it down because you notice that it has a particular speed in which it wants to go. And when you try to slow it down, it cannot do what it's doing. And because it cannot do exactly what it was doing before, you can sometimes see better what it's doing. Try this a few minutes, it takes a few minutes to sense in. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Do it a little slower. Even if that seems awkward or strange. Okay, let me pause a moment here and ask you what happened. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else? And this could be anything. So there's no right.
I need to slow this down. What is this?
Aha. What is? Yes. Yes. Did it slow down?
Yeah. Thinking that slow down.
And that became the thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. What else? As I said, there's no right answer. So you can say anything. Something? No. Okay.
They want, if you want to participate, you have a microphone so people on Zoom can hear it.
True, true. Yeah. So now you got them even more nervous. Now they're going to talk to a microphone. Okay, if they say something important enough, I'll repeat it. I was repeating it anyway, so yeah. Anybody online want to say anything? They're all turned their cameras off, so it's Nobi might. Nobi's the only one I can see there. Nathan doesn't look like a Nathan, but that's okay.
Guess I have my surname on the screen. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so no comments from on screen either.
I just want to
I
say
hope.
I love this. I love this lecture so far.
Come on, I haven't even started.
Well, that's even better.
So this is a kind of, I mean, we didn't, not much happened, but just trying to change the speed at whatever you change the speed of whatever you're doing, it jiggles it a bit. And you can't do what you were doing at a slower speed, which itself is interesting, that the mind is this way, that when you change the pacing of it, it's this thing keeps changing on me. All right. So continue with this. Slow it down. And you don't have to succeed in slowing it down. Even the trying to slow it down is enough. It changes enough that you can see your mind doing something, even if you can't make total sense of it. But that's intriguing. It's you can see what your mind is doing. You rarely look at what your mind is doing. So let's look a bit by just slowing it down, and you don't have to succeed. So you just do it. Or if nothing is, sometimes you ask your mind, look at your mind and ask it to do something and nothing is happening, or apparently you can't see anything. Well, think of something that happened earlier. Something was happening earlier. Think of it a little slower, that's all. Maybe sometimes you can start to sense how and why this anxiety, fear, irritation is coming up. You may still be blaming external events for it. But even if you blame external events for it, notice what is happening internally as you observe. Again, it's your mind. I'm not asking you to see something special or different. You just look at what is happening there. Look at what the mind feels like when events in the mind are happening. Usually not very comfortable. And each of your minds are doing different things, so I can't actually say something about it. Only you know what is happening. But then maybe I should ask you what is happening. Now everybody's put on the spot. Yes, take the microphone back. Aha.
Okay, my mind, if I watch my mind, it's flitting like a pinball. But if I do what you're asking me to do, it has to slow down because you're saying, okay, slow it down. So then you have to look at your mind thinking, and you can't do both things at the same time quickly. At least that's my experience.
So did it flit slower?
It didn't flit because I was like, I got stuck on my first thought that I was going to.
It just froze up like that.
Well, no, but it was like, then I got kind of more like, where did that thought come from? Like I was like trying to slow it down. What's the origination of that thought? Rather than it going to the next thing and over here.
Right. No, that itself is interesting that you're able to do that. Anybody else? So does this trigger any observations? I find myself afflicted by the thought of death and wonder whether it's external, internal, both. That's what your mind is doing now. Difficult to slow that down. Yeah, yeah. Slow just a little down, just very little.
I find in order to slow my mind down, I have to let go.
Okay.
And the letting go, that split instant, is a little bit insecure.
Yeah, yeah. And if you look at it, everything that is secure is very patterned. I have done this many times before. This is the way my mind moves. When you change that, it becomes unsecure. That itself is an interesting observation of the mind. Anybody else? Anything else?
I think about the words and sentences that my thoughts are saying to me, and I just take those words and say them to myself one at a time, and I find that that is helpful. And then I forget what the next thing is.
So this was just to come back to people on the screen, even the people whose cameras are turned off. Any comments from here? Your microphone's
I
off.
found when I slow down, I just stop thinking
Wow.
because I'm thinking slow down, and the slow down words becomes almost like a mantra in my mind, and then I don't think about much else.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that can happen too. Nobi? Your microphone. Yeah.
When I slow down, I can feel my feelings, my sensation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so this slowing down was mostly just to trick the mind into changing its standard rhythm and pattern of doing, of the way it does things. This keeps changing on me. Okay, I can see everybody again. And just enough for you to maybe get a glimpse of what is happening in the mind. Because if we want to re-engineer the system, which is the title of the talk, we have to have some glimpse of what is actually happening there. I know in a short 1 hour talk you can't really do that, but you can get a start at it. That it may be possible to see a little more. And then maybe we can re-engineer the system, but we can re-engineer the system even without fully understanding it. Or to put another phrase on it, when you're in a good mood, your problems don't seem as heavy. When you're in a bad mood, your problems seem to be much bigger and more difficult. Why is that so when your problem is actually the same problem? And it's very palpable. Or is it then the same problem as the problem itself changed? Your thinking mind may say, no, the problem is the same. Or your thinking mind might say, no, the problem changed. It's actually not that hard a problem. Which one is true? Either one could be true. So, yeah, Josefa.
The question for me is that mood is basically kind of a function of the body, right? It's not something to do with how the mind kind of goes in that direction. It's something to do with the bodily kind of
I
functions.
don't know. I would
So,
So you asked me
no,
that
yeah,
earlier.
yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that that's what my understanding is, that the question then is that how do you engineer your body to kind of help the mind to slow down?
Okay. So
So then it kind of brings to the point that how do you stop blaming things, you know? Is how do you kind of try and understand how do you kind of can be a positive, how do you see that from the neutral stand, you know? That's what it is.
okay. You actually said a number of interesting things. One is you proposed that your mood is based on your body. And there may be people who disagree with that. Some people may say, no, no, it's all in my mind. But what you're really pointing to is that those two are not separate. Sometimes your mood, you can sense it very much in your body. There are times you sense it in your mind. Sometimes, and a better way to look at it is that you can't really separate the two. But when what did you say after that? When you forgot.
I think as soon as you kind of realize that there's something with the body which kind of affects the mood, then maybe there's something about disciplining the body which will help you kind of control the mood in the right kind of direction, or the neutral pose basically.
Okay.
And that neutral pose will stop kind of blaming things outside your physical body and kind of focus on how do you become a neutral force of change for goodness in others, you know, seeing the goodness in others, you know,
Okay. Okay.
so that you don't stop blaming yourself all the time, you know.
Right, right. You bring up another point. I mean, I was proposing that you blame your problems on events outside, but sometimes you blame your problems on events inside too. You blame yourself, is what the way you put it.
You're kind of helpless in the position that you cannot kind of affect the goodness in others, you know.
Yeah.
So you start blaming that something is wrong with you.
Something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You could blame, depending on the kind of person you are, sometimes you blame your problems on things happening outside. Sometimes you blame it on yourself. All of this is possible. But the other intriguing thing you said is that your mood may be dependent on your body. So if you change something in your body, your mood may change. Maybe. It's worth testing this out. I'm proposing that if it may be dependent on something in the body or something in the mind, and if you change either one or both, it may change your state of being and then change your take on the world and your state of your problems. Yes.
I'm aware that my mind will behave differently if I awaken at 2 a.m. and it's dark, as opposed to addressing those issues after the sun is up.
Right.
Weather changes, moon phase changes. Sometimes we're left wondering, why am I feeling this way?
Right.
Why is a particular issue thornier when I've been inside, or there's a lack of sunshine, as opposed to a day of stronger, biorhythm energy.
Right. Right. So it is possible, again, I'm just going to pick up from what you said, and It is possible that to re-engineer the system, you may have to re-engineer the moon and the night and the sunlight and all these things too. To put it in practical terms, if the sun is shining, you go out in the sun, and that may change your state of mind. But in all of this, what is actually changing is your embodiment is changing, both mind and body. You step out on a nice sunny day after a number of days of cloudy rain, you step out into a nice sunny day into the sun, and your embodiment responds differently. Your breath changes, your eyes open differently. That's your embodiment change, responding to it and changing. And now your state of mind has changed and your view of the world has changed. So that's something we know how to do. We do that. Is there a way of directly going into the embodiment and changing its state, regardless of what is happening outside? That is also an intriguing question. Yeah.
Like, can you be content or happy if you were going through extreme pain, for example? How do you live outside of that?
Yeah. You could be going through extreme pain. You could be going through extremely stressful circumstances. And even in all of them, when you are in a good mood, you can tolerate pain better. When you're in a good mood, when you're in a happy state of mind, stressful situations bite you less hard. So can we directly change the state of our embodiment in such a way that we respond differently? So time is ticking along, so I have to start giving you ways of doing this. So we'll play with a couple of ways of reshaping our state of being. And we'll do it almost like an experiment and see what happens. And what I'm proposing is that when the energy, and this is my proposal, and we'll play with this. When the energy flows more easily through your body, through your embodiment, when there are less blockages and tensions and tightnesses in either mind or body, your body and mind have now been re-engineered in a way, in a very blunt way, so that problems and issues bite you less hard or may not be a problem at all. So, because if you observe your mind and body, when you are in a stressful state or when you are in a not happy situation, one way of looking at it is that the flow of energy in your body is blocked or not flowing so smoothly. Whatever that means. But just remember a time when you were not happy. And let's say you're just unhappy about something, or you're depressed or sad. When you're sad, your whole body changes in a certain way. Your energy probably just comes in. What if you're able to change your energy so that it's not that compressed energy and it's more open and flowing? Just changing the energy alone. It may be different. Can we do that directly? Can we change things directly? Because everything changes. The way your senses operate change, the way you hear things change, the way you see things change. Some people, they say that there are phrases that reflect this. I was so angry that I was blind with anger. You literally cannot see. You're so angry. I was so sad and depressed that I couldn't see things in color. Everything was in black and white. Your senses can respond that way, can change in that way. which means you can also change what is happening in the body without regard to whether you're sad or not. When bright colors appear, when sound is sharp, when the sun is outside, and you're not waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning, you're waking up in the morning. Things may open up differently. So can we directly change our embodiment? Okay, so let's try a few things. I think we'll try 3 different things. And they are, some of them may work for some people, others may work for other people. So one doesn't fly, that's okay. We'll do a different one. So let's work with color. I want you to look around the space you're in. And look at a color, or even imagine a color that you like. Either gaze on it or just bring it up in your mind. And as you bring that color up, either in your imagination or somewhere in the space in which you're sitting, look at the color and sense the energy of that color. If it's red, feel the redness of it. If it is blue, feel the blueness of it. Just the color, just the color. Not what is colored, just the color. Feel that color in your entire embodiment. Notice how your embodiment responds to that color. Notice how your breath changes in response to that color. Now let's do a small movement practice. As you continue to feel that color, sense that color, you may be looking at that color. You may not have to look at that color because you can still feel the energy of the color even without having to look at it. Bring your hands in front of you and just hold your elbows. So as you do that, you're still feeling and sensing the color. With that quality of color, turn your body to one side. If your head is looking at if your eyes are looking at the color, you can keep your eyes looking at it. And then turn your body to the other side. Slow turn, but you're sensing the color and sensing the movement, both together. Then come back to the center. Still feeling the energy of the color. Let your hands come off your elbows. Let your hands come to wherever they're comfortable. Still stay with the color. It's surprisingly interesting to do this and unexpected. Come out of it for a moment. Come out of it. Do you feel different having sensed the color and the movement? Actually having sensed the color. I mean, I can visibly see you being a little different. Yes, slightly. This is just by picking up a color and just settling into the color. And doesn't matter what color it is. Let's try another little experiment or play. This time, bring up a nice memory. Doesn't have to be intensely good, just a nice memory. Bring up a nice memory. If you can't bring one up, make one up. Works equally well. Now I'm going to ask you to do some rather, and you might think I can't do this, but just do it regardless. As you bring up the memory, use your breath to massage the memory. I don't even know how to do that, but just do it. Use your breath to massage the memory. What happens? Keep massaging the memory with your breath. As though you can rub the memory with your breath. What happens to your embodiment? What happens to your state of being? Just a pleasant memory. Massage it with your breath. Okay, let that go, but continue to stay with whatever feelings that have come up when you did that. Okay. Gently ease out of that practice and just take a moment to reflect on your state of your embodiment, your body and your mind. It's startling how much you can change that with this almost ephemeral practice. How do you even massage a memory? But there you are, you did it, and something happened. How do you use your breath to massage your memory? So we don't ask any questions. We just discovered it's possible. Things happen when you do that. And it actually feels good when you do that. And at a very deep level, something starts to change. So it may be easier than you would think to re-engineer your system, even not fully understanding how you're doing it. Yeah, Zefa.
No, I just, when you mentioned about a pleasant memory, I just thought maybe you just think about a memory, and memory is based in where would the memories get situated in the body? It's in the brain. And then if you think about it as a brain, then how do you massage the brain? So I was just trying to kind of feel the brain kind of getting massage. And I don't know if that was the right way to do it, because that kind of made me kind of feel a little bit happy, kind of thing. I don't know.
It doesn't matter how you did it.
Whether that's the way to do
It doesn't really matter how you do it. It works no matter. I mean, you would say the memory is in the brain. I was thinking, wait a minute, the memory is in the past. So I have to massage the past. Did I actually massage the past and it felt good? That is strange, but I think I pulled that off. So, you can take it different ways. Each person will conceive of it differently, but it still will have an effect.
Get in the past and the future. Well, what I mean to say is I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, however you figure it out, it will have an effect. Yeah. Let's do something more physical, because when you say the embodiment, it can be changed. This one, I'm not sure whether it will work for all of y'all, and the camera can't see me well either, but it's okay. We'll do something. So here, just rub your hands together. I just want to activate the hands. We also don't have that much time, but we'll see what we can do. So rub your hands, and as your hands warm up by the rubbing, slow it down, bring it to a halt, and sense between your hands. You can feel a feeling between the hands because we just rubbed it. As though there's a ball of energy. Make it larger by bringing your hands further apart, and smaller by bringing your hands closer. And then just cup your hands around this ball of energy and bring it towards your body. And I would say bring it to your heart, center of your chest. As though you can imagine this energy penetrate into the body and enter the body. Feel it or even imagine it, and then your hands finally rest on your chest. And feel the feeling in your chest, in your heart center. And as you sense this feeling in the center of your heart, even placing your awareness on that feeling in your heart further stimulates the sensations in the heart. And relax around the heart. The heart can sometimes tighten up. Relax around the heart. And let this feeling kind of flow up from the heart and also flow down from the heart. See what happens if you do that. And let it flow up from the heart and maybe flows into the throat. Flow down from the heart and let it flow into the belly. Maybe you feel a flow of feeling that goes up from the heart into the throat, maybe into the head, maybe even outside the body, and flows down from the heart into the belly, into the ground. And just go with this, whether it makes sense or not. These are the things you don't figure out, you just do it. And then bring your hands away from your heart and put them wherever it is comfortable. And just sense and feel your embodiment. Feel your state of mind now. All of it just being changed slightly by just doing this. And slowly come out of the experience. So there was a slightly different way of changing your, one could say, inner architecture. Very tangibly, because you warmed your hands up and brought the heat of it to your heart and then let that warmth go up and down. And that's a kind of move or practice that helps to get the flow of feeling physically, feel it moving in the body. So we got a hint that by physically changing the state of our body and mind, we did it in 3 different ways. One was using a color, second was by using a memory and massaging it, and the third one was by just building up a warmth in the hand and bringing it to the heart and letting it flow in the body. That we can actually change our state of our body and our mind. That in the space of a talk, that's all we can do. But you also get a hint that when you do that, your state of being changes, which means you may respond differently to what you would blame to think on things outside, or things that you may blame on things outside may not be such a big thing to blame anymore. Your problem may not be as big. So in your case, when you wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and you look at a pleasant color or bring up a memory and breathe into it, 2 a.m. may not be that big a problem. We don't know. You have to try it out. So we got another 7 minutes or so. That's kind of the gist of the entire talk, actually. So any other responses, any reactions, questions, even for people on the screen? That's the thing when you do practices, there's nothing to say. But it's harder to bring words around because it's become very experienced state rather than a head talking state. Yes.
I have a question, which is how might this be applied in the midst of an argument or a tense moment? Might you stop and start rubbing your hands together? And
no,
how do you apply?
Yeah. So some of these methods are actually coming from far deeper parts of the Dharma. And that practice with the color is actually a practice that is done for patience. Patience and impatience. Yeah. So it is most powerful in a situation where you're impatient and the energy of impatience is coming up. When the energy of impatience comes up, and you can test this out by actually taking your memory to a time when you were impatient with something, you wanted something to happen faster. So bring up impatience by just imagining it. Then bring up the color that you'd looked at. Let that color merge into the impatience. You see what happened? So yes, you can do it. In fact, many of the practices are designed for being done when they're actually needed. But it takes a little skill and practice to be able to apply it at that moment. And the practice of patience is one of those very powerful ones. And it's also rather simple. Now that we have done it, you bring up the color. Just merge the color into whatever is arising as just color.
Is it like diffusing that thought?
We don't quite, actually, can you ask that question again?
Is it like diffusing that thought with another thought?
When you
This
bring the
exercise.
color,
When
that
you-
the
Yeah, when you
the
visualize the
no,
color.
I think something more fundamental is going on there. Because when you bring up a color, one could say it's a thought, but one could also say it's a color. Not the thought of a color, the color itself. When you look at a red color, and the red is in front of you, you could say that I think it is red, or that is red without thinking about it. So it's a very direct color. So it's working at a far deeper level than a thought.
So it's an awareness. It's what you're saying is more the awareness of the color rather than the thought of the color.
Yes, yes, all of these are. So when you rub your hands, which is not a practice you do in this situation, but when you rub your hands and place the warmth of your hands on your heart, you're not placing the thought of the warmth of the hands on the thought of the heart center. That's what thought do, and that thought actually does that. You separate yourself all the way back. So when you do this, something direct, you don't want to do the entire activity in the thought. You want to do the actual activity.
Well, I'm working on the difference between awareness and thought.
Aha.
So can you talk on that?
That's another talk.
I know.
But since you asked it, I mean, you kind of already know when we talked about the color. You can say, I'm thinking of red. And when you say red, language also ties into thought, because most of our thought thinking is in language. Then you need the word red. But red is there without the word red. It is always there even before you apply the label red to it. In fact, when you apply the label red to it, becomes one thing. But if you look around right now in the room at all the reds, they're all different. But when you use the thought or the word red, they all become one thing, when they are actually 10,000 things. So that is one of the limitations of thought. It locks you into that identified thing, when it actually is a myriad of things. I'm not talking about awareness and thought. I'm just talking of a attribute of thought itself, which already should make you a little irritated at thought.
But the question still is that once you have language defining what the color is, for that matter, what color is by itself,
Yeah,
you
can't get out, right?
get out of it, So the question is then, how do you perceive things,
Yeah.
So the
It
question is,
language is that powerful. It shapes what you perceive. It also shapes what you perceive. If you don't have a name for a color, you will fit it into a color that you have a name for. And then you will no longer see that as a different color. You will see it as red, even though it was not red. And this is very palpable when you study different languages. Some languages don't have words for certain colors. Those people cannot see those colors. Ah, you didn't know this, no? Yeah. So, but you say, no, I know English. I know all the colors. We have words for all the colors. And there is I saw this in Scientific American. There were two photographs. There was a photograph, and it's one of the South African languages has a word for a color that English doesn't have a word for. We can't see that color. They can see that color. Huh. So, words and thought, words and thought are quite closely linked together. They control perception itself. So it's that powerful. So that doesn't answer Jose's first question, like so how do I get out of this? That's the real question he's asking. How do I get out of this? And he's asking with that sense that I don't see a way to get out. No, there are ways to get out.
What I'm saying is that perception leads to a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of propaganda, a lot of
Yeah.
so it kind of creates more havoc than
Yeah.
kind of leading to peace,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Not only with others, but in your own mind.
Means if you understand the concept, what is happening around you, then your mind is kind of at peace with it, because you're not trying to kind of dissect it in different ways, but you know that that's a fallacy or shortcoming of the way we perceive things. So yeah.
So you're willing to live with the shortcoming. I am arguing for how to get out of the shortcoming.
Yeah, means it's not a shortcoming. What I mean to say is that you cannot possibly, you can kind of mold yourself in the way you perceive things.
But you are not arguing for how to get out of the trap of perception. I'm making that argument.
Yeah, means the way you perceive things is all depending on how you have been taught to see the world,
So that's a trap, no?
Yeah, means you have to kind of be able to see the world from all viewpoints.
But those are also viewpoints. Can you get out of viewpoints?
Viewpoints. That's what it is. Basically, you kind of see things in a holistic manner, right? So
that is also a viewpoint. Holistic is a viewpoint. I'm saying we have to get out of that too. See, the words are all traps.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So then the real question is, can we get out of that? And I'm saying yes. And you're looking at it and saying, I'm not seeing a way out. I'm putting words in your mouth, but go with it for now.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that, means you're trying to kind of work to your way towards the concept of emptiness,
No, you're taking me too far.
Okay, then maybe I'm gone too far.
Taking it far beyond where I was taking it. But
Waiting for the shoe to drop. Come on, give it to us.
Yeah, no, your first take on it is that when you have a name for a color, it is trapping you into that name. And right now, as you look, and if you take red and you look around and you will find all the reds. And if you don't use the word red and look at it as just color, we're still using the word color, but just color, you'll know they're all different colors. And you can do that right now. So in a way, you slipped out of the trap of red. It's a slight slip out, but it's still a slip out. If you had not done this, all the reds were just one thing.
But then I would ask the question then, what is that color which kind of holds all the colors together?
Yeah.
And that's white light,
Yeah. So
white light as such is just light,
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any kind of what do you call the once it passes through the prism, you get different.
Right.
So the question is that light doesn't have any kind of what do you call, and that's something which if you can perceive that, then you dissolve everything in it, and
you are sure?
You try to. I don't know.
I
don't want to.
don't think so. I think now I think you'll be trapped in that concept now.
What I'm trying to say is that
But I don't want you leaving with the sense that there is no way out of the concepts. And that's why I gave you that slight escape saying that if you pick the color red, what if you look around and see just color, not red? Then you'll see 10,000 different reds. And you ask, why did I call it only red? Can I give a name for each of the 10,000 ones? If you do wish to give a name, but you don't have to. But the topic you opened up is a little too large. We're already 10 minutes out of time, so we can't go. You really asked a question about thought and awareness. One could also ask the question, are you aware of a thought? Are you aware of a thought? So you were only looking at the content of the thought. That's what you meant when you said thought. So I'm asking differently. I'm asking, can you also be aware of thought itself?
Yeah.
So okay. So we have content of the thought and we have thought. And we have awareness of the thought. So now already we're starting to tease out other aspects of this. So it's just, I'm just showing that I'm just opening it up a little more without fully answering a question which can't be answered that quickly.
Yeah, I would love to talk on that.
Yeah.
Because then can we be awareness?
Can you be aware of awareness? Who is being aware of awareness? Yeah. Can you be aware of the being that is being aware? All of that. And then it kind of telescopes and suddenly something happens. So there's a very interesting ways of working with it, both working with thought and awareness. Not the topic of this talk, but clearly this talk is leading in and asking those questions. Yes. Okay. So we are 10 minutes beyond the time. And all these people waited on screen. Thank you, everybody, for waiting, even though you have not shown your faces. But thank you for all the people who are here and actually showed their faces and asked very interesting questions and we brought up a good, interesting discussion. And opened up the many different states of being and qualities of the mind by just our conversation. All right, so let's bring this talk to an end. And let's take a moment, and I like doing this. If any benefits came from our discussion, our conversation, our insights into thoughts, into concepts, into awareness, and if there are any benefits that came to us from that, take a moment, take those benefits and give it to somebody else who would appreciate the same thing for free. Just give it to them. Okay, good. That's how we'll close the talk. All right, let me turn this thing off. Goodbye, everybody on screen.